Jesse. I'm running LoveCry.
And I'm Anthony, and I'm volunteering with LoveCry. And we thought today we would talk about healing. So we talk about things that we have within ourselves that need to heal. We all have things within ourselves that needs to heal. We're all broken somewhere inside, and that's okay. That's part of the human condition. We don't have to pretend that we're perfect. We don't have to be perfect to be lovable. We're actually lovable in our imperfections. And so my goal for myself is to heal. And my goal for everyone listening would be to get on a healing path. And so the question is, well, now what do I do? Okay, so I want to heal. Like, what do I do? Because we have traumas inside ourselves. We have repressed things that need to come out and be healed and see the light. So what are some things that we can do on a practical level? And, Jesse, you were sharing with me some kind of miraculous things that happened in your life. And I think the first thing that happened on your healing path was you forming an intention. And I think that kind of caused, because they say when the student is ready, the teacher will show up, right? So you had this intention that you wanted to heal. And why would someone want to heal? I mean, from an egoic perspective, we would want to heal because we can feel happier, we can feel better. Everybody wants to feel better, and I think that's okay. That can be very motivating. And part of it is self-love. Like when you heal yourself, you're going to get more in touch with your self-love. So in the beginning, someone might not have enough self-love to say, they might say, like, I deserve to suffer. I deserve to die. I don't deserve to feel better. I don't deserve better. And so you had a catalyst that went beyond that.
Yeah, that was my daughter. So that was because if it wasn't for her, like having that outside person that I wanted to be better for, that I wanted to be improved, I wanted to love, I wanted to give all of myself to her, because for me, I wasn't anything. And through that, I found out that to love her, I need to also love myself. And those things perpetuated each other. So it wasn't an easy process. Like for me, I had to believe in myself. I had to believe in what my issue was, believe in what was wrong, what was bothering me, what was hurting me. And considering what it was what Children's Aid did to me and my family. So it's hard to go against a system that is so powerful and to say that they're wrong. I feel like I'm losing my progress here. Sorry.
So what catalyzed it was that, you talked about what motivated you to want to improve and to want to heal. And then the other things we were talking about, like even before that situation with Children's Aid and your daughter, which was horrific and horrible, horrifying, traumatic, even before that, there was things inside you which were not healed. They were broken. They were damaged.
Yeah.
So even before that, before that point, you didn't feel like this urge really to heal that stuff that you had within yourself. Maybe you weren't even that aware.
No, like I was aware of some things, like especially of the sexual abuse and stuff like that has happened.
So you were aware that you had things inside yourself that were unhealed.
Yeah, and I just but then when you tell people, it never got really good response. I've also mentioned before, my mom said, like, I knew there was something wrong with you. So like when that's your response to what you've said or talking about like what happened,
like I'm hurting, there's something wrong. And your mom's like, yeah, I knew you. She's basically saying, I knew you were fucked up.
Yeah.
So where was the love or support or what in there was going to motivate you?
Yeah. And she said that she tried to talk to me, but I wouldn't say anything. And that's where I'm like, yeah, I understand that, but that's your job as a parent, is to, if you see there's something wrong, don't just ignore it. Like, oh, well, he doesn't want to tell me. Right. Well, that should be something like, what am I doing to where my son or my daughter doesn't want to tell me? Like instead of being like, oh, they're not going to talk.
And I'm laughing because it's like I saw this cartoon of a son at the table with his mom at breakfast. And then the mom looked at the son, and what she saw was like, those Stonehenge guys? Like, that's what she saw. Not her son, but that. So it's kind of normal for teenagers to not communicate, but you're saying the job as a parent as a loving parent is like, okay, my teenager is not communicating. This is unhealthy for them and me and our relationship. I need to find a way to bring them out, right? And why are they not coming out? Is it because I'm a judgmental parent? Am I a preachy parent who's not practicing what I preach? Am I making them feel judged? So if that's the energy I'm putting around them, of course they're not going to open up to me. So what can I do as a parent, or what can I do in a relationship? My partner is not talking to me, my friend's not talking to me. What can I do to open that space around them where they feel safe, where they can express things that I might not like, right? Because maybe your mom didn't like to hear that stuff because at some point she felt like a failure. Like, okay, so my son went through this, so I failed as a parent. So let me just shut down this communication because I don't want to go there. Like, maybe that was happening. It could be something else. It could be 85 different explanations. But you're saying as a parent, if your kid's not talking, find that way.
Find the way to connect. You have to. It's part of your responsibility. It's been given to you from the Creator as because you can handle it, because you have the power, you have the capacity to endure it. So that's very important. And like another thing is to like never give up. Like if you're going to a counselor, you're going to a therapist, and they're just against you, or they just don't believe in what happened to you, or they just think that it's wrong. But if they're not like if they can't explain it to you in a way that's understandable and makes sense, and in a way that resonates to you, not just because you're closed minded, but you're open minded. You're caring about this. You're looking for an answer, and what they're saying doesn't relate, doesn't fit, and so never back down, but always be open because you might be in the wrong in certain areas, certain aspects, your anger, your resentment, your jealousy. Always look at these things as they could always be in check, because if not, then when you go to a counselor, you're going to ingrain it in yourself and them that you're not worth it, that you're not even trying, that you're not good enough. So you're planting that seed that like they're bad and you're bad. And now there's no really way around it besides getting sicker, or more mental health issues. And then you're going to end up more on medication and reliable on the system because you think you're the problem. But really, yet they're being taught a westernized approach that doesn't bring in family, connection, love, because these are all barriers to healing, because they think that you're going to get burnt out, become biased, too emotionally connected, and that separates the relationship and doesn't create help. So then you feel like you're the problem, that you need to change, that you need to be better, when really that help needs to change. It shouldn't be forcing you to be a certain way unless you're actually harming someone. But if your opinion is this is what has happened to me, and they're like, no, I don't think that would happen. But then what kind of help and support is that?
I think that's a massive point, where we get this white coat kind of syndrome where like, that person's got, all these things up on the wall with their name on it. So I have to just like take their word for it. And so I think that's a massive point that you're making. So if you do seek out help, um, interview your therapist. Like, do I want to work with this person? Do they give a shit about me? Do they care about me? Are they a caring person? Is what if they say something about me, can it resonate? And like you said, it's a fine line because someone might challenge you, and so do yourself a favor and try it on. So try on that jacket, try it on, not the straight jacket, but try on what they're saying. But at the end, if it's really not resonating, then you are the expert of you. You're the expert of you. So don't let someone else expertise you. Like, oh, look at all these things hanging on my wall, man. Like, you're wrong and I'm right. So don't fall into that. And a therapist can be good, or a therapist can be not good. And then they might be good, but then they might not be a fit for you. So feel free to interview if you go that route of wanting to help yourself with a therapist.
And I was going to say, I was getting help from my Street Kids organization that doesn't take funding from the government. That taught me mindfulness, self-love, things like that, physical activity, giving of yourself, volunteering, and all these things were promoting my healing. Like I was feeling better, I was loving things, giving of myself, And no matter how much that benefited me through the courts, through mental health, it was constantly being targeted. Like, it was bad. They're supporting what I believe. They're making me sicker by supporting me, by loving me, by caring about me. But yet, when I went to them, when I go talk to them for support or help, it's just, how come you're not doing what you're told? Like, that happened many times when it came to this mental health aspect, because I said they were wrong about what happened to my daughter. And they couldn't explain to me without any doubt that my daughter was okay. I asked for inclusive family counseling. They said that will hurt the child. They said, we'll keep talking to her. I said, do you have any degree in child psychology, or are you just a social worker? I'm a social worker. Okay, so then a child therapist who's trained to work with a child is going to hurt her more than you would? And then, because I said, fine, you don't want to effing help me, I will find someone who will. And from there, it was just targeted against me. Right. So when you want help, as long as it's not against the system, you'll get it. Right. But once you start to say that this is maltreatment, this is abuse, you are done. They will discredit you. They will turn on the ones who support you, and watch how those ones that support you now, watch how they're shaking, especially if they're paid for by the government. Because now they can't touch you. They can't help you because your issues interfere with the status quo.
Right. So you were against the system. You're saying the system was really wrong, and then everyone is tied in with this system. And now if we get to a system that's a little less, your case was not an uncommon case, but let's talk about someone who is not involved with that system, child's aid, but we have a system of psychiatry, and the system of psychiatry is like, put a label on that person, put a drug into that person. And, you and I were discussing before, like, how many people on antidepressants actually biochemically need an antidepressant? And you were saying, I think it's none. Yeah. I was saying, I think it's probably not many. But it's like, it fits within that 5-minute window that you see the specialist who's making all this money to see you for 5 minutes. Like, oh, okay, well, you're anxious, here's an anxious drug. You're depressed, here's a depressed drug. That depressed drug didn't work well for you. And then you're saying, okay, let's give you a combination. Let's put 2 drugs in there and see what happens. Rather than, peeling back that carpet, cleaning up the shit that's under the carpet, and then cleaning the carpet and putting that back. And that's how you get healing. And that's how you can get past many types of depression and anxiety and disconnects. And why am I working against myself? Well, because we have things inside ourselves which are broken, and we need to harmonize, I don't know, create more harmony within ourselves by healing those broken aspects of ourselves. And, can a therapist do that? Yes, a therapist can do that. Well, if you find a therapist that will do that, that's cool. But some therapists maybe just want to like skirt around things and give you little exercises to make you feel better about yourself without peeling back that carpet and taking a look what's going on deep inside you,
Yeah, and I find the hardest part too is that so like there's lots of retreats and things like that for mental health, dealing with problems, dealing with issues, but they're thousands of dollars. Like, to me, it just blows my mind, because like you have all these people, low income, suffering.
Yeah, like if you're rich, then hey, there's all kinds of help, But what if you don't have thousands of dollars extra to go on a flippin' retreat?
You're at the mercy of the system. Who can't think for itself, because otherwise the government or the systemic will come down on them. You can't work like that. You can't think like that. You can't behave like that. It's like, but my patients are benefiting. They're like, do you want a job or not?
Right. Yeah. It's not about the patient's benefit. When you have a system in place, then the system's prime objective is to maintain itself. Right? Yeah. Whether it's the medical system, the psychiatric system, the therapeutic system. So.
And I guess too, for like, if you do want help, you have to fight. Not in like a physical fight, but you have to, it's like a psychic fight in a sense. You have to really fight for what you believe in. And they're going to try to convince you, make you think otherwise, make you believe that you're wrong, make other people around you believe you're wrong, try to condemn you. But once that's happening, you know you're right. Like once they're trying to break you down in that sense, why would they have to do that if you were that crazy?
Because if they break you down, then they're like, see, we told you, he's violent, he's aggressive, he or she is non-compliant, they're not cooperative,
and then
they're acting out.
It's
Well, like, yeah, but you
sorry.
pushed my buttons for 40 days. Of course I acted out. But no, that part is left out. That we pushed his buttons, right?
Yeah. Just like I had a psychiatrist who told me to quit smoking weed. So I agreed. I said, fine, sure, if that's what you want me to do to so-called be a better person. But he tried to give me Resveratrol. It's an antipsychotic drug that's prescribed for schizophrenia. And so he
So it's
told
like, okay, well, I want you to get off this drug called weed, or I mean, marijuana,
cannabis, yeah.
cannabis, but I'm going to put you on this antipsychotic drug, which doesn't even exist in nature, and of course has way more toxicity than weed ever could.
And then so I went to my
That
psychotherapist,
blows my mind, man.
and I told him about this process, and he said, "Did you take it?" I said, "No." He said, "Good, because if you took it, that would be why you're better now, and then when you come off it, that is why you're back to your sickness
according
again."
to the system.
Exactly.
Oh, he's better now because he took this drug that we
Exactly.
prescribed. Okay, not because of any work he did on himself or had done on himself. Crazy, man. So I'm talking about crazy. Like that's crazy.
So that's exactly what happened. And if it wasn't for LoveCry, like my mentor, I would have been crushed through this system. And that's why, like, if I think of like racialized individuals, marginalized, low income, like you have no chance. Like if you look at it, I'm a white male, privileged, heterosexual. I should have all the benefits from the system, and yet this is what happened to me. So I could only imagine what would happen on the other side. Like, how do you stand up for yourself if you're going to lose your family, lose your child, lose everything you have? You just become complacent and assimilate to what they want from you so that you can have your family. And then they base that research that this is helping.
Oh yeah, look, we helped this case.
Yeah.
But, you know, he took the drug that we said, he did this and did that. And then you look at like a success story.
Yeah, exactly. Like they become tokens, and then people focus on those stories. But it's like, okay, yeah, they've helped some. They've probably helped hundreds, maybe thousands of people. But then they've also done genocide. They've also still abused to this day. They use rhetoric. They have control of the courts. Their complaint procedure is you go to your worker supervisor, branch manager, executive director, and president, and then you could go to the Ministry of Community Services to complain, Community and Youth Services to complain. But
that's a massive process, man.
Through that process, you have to get them to respond. So, you know, you go to the easy ones are the worker and the supervisor and worker. Those ones are easy. You go to the manager. That took a little bit, but we're trying to get a hold of the vice president. No response for days. Write letters, write emails, calls, nothing. So I had to go to the MPP's office because they have 2 days to respond to them. So they got a response within 2 days, and they said that they heard my concerns and they feel like they've been heard and dealt with accordingly.
So that was just rhetoric.
Yeah.
But you're talking about standing strong.
Yeah.
Standing strong for what you know needs to happen or what's up, and standing strong against something which does not fit on you. Like, yes, exactly. This is what's wrong with you. Well, like, is it really? That's not resonating with any part of me, right? But you want this neat little label, and you want this little compliant person.
Yeah. And then that's why they make all these. They say the safety net is very loose and wiggly.
The safety net.
Yeah. So they say, oh, there's a safety net to catch people who fall through the cracks. But that doesn't exist. The safety net creates the cracks. The safety net is the crack. You get caught down there, you're staying down there. You know, they're going to stomp on you, and they're going to continue to make you feel like you deserve what you get down there. So help, like he was saying, like I said, that you have to fight for it. You have to want it bad, no matter how much you hurt, no matter how much no one's listening to you. Who cares? Just keep speaking. Keep going forward, because these people are going to keep suppressing you if you don't. They're going to keep trying to assimilate you. They're going to keep putting you on drugs. And it's not because it's your best interest. It's because this way they can control you and keep you down. They can keep you sick mental health issues. They can keep it so that you can't stand up on your own without them. And it's all tricks. It's all rhetoric. Look at history.
And it's about creating a profitable client over time as well. That's part of how the system keeps itself in place, right? So rather than curing, which comes from, I care about this person and I'm going to help them heal inside themselves. That's cure. But, getting on a drug, going on these little programs 1 hour per week, like, what is that really going to do? And you mentioned earlier, like, you go and see someone, like, in Canada, you get, I guess you get 10 sessions, right? That is
Yeah,
covered
something like
under.
that. It's pretty.
So it's like, oh, you got 1 hour once a week. So the other, however many hundreds of hours there are in a week, you're on your own, but that 1 hour, and then, if this therapist, if you have a relationship with the therapist, then you could text them or call them during the week to kind of keep you on track, but that doesn't exist. You only have that 1 hour. So with Angel, you were seeing her every day,
Every day.
every day.
Every
And
day.
so
Without,
it was an accelerated program of finding out about yourself, finding out about how to be in a new way.
it was like that log analogy where if you have one log burning and you add another log, it starts to burn faster. But if this log's not burning, you put another log not burning to beside it. There's nothing. So it's helpful to have someone who understands it and understands you and works with you as you. And there are people out there that will do that. It's just finding them because there's so much manipulation and lies, and people have to be worried that they're going to be filed complaints against, be sued, all these things. And it's like, how can you be sued for trying to help someone? Like, if your intention was there, like uh, that part is, to me, it's disgusting. Because if unless it was like intentfully done to you, but if it's a mistake, then that's a learning thing for everyone.
Yeah, we all make mistakes, but getting back to the intention, the kind of miracle thing that happened was that you started to form this intention that you wanted to heal, and then you told me you started talking with this girl on the street. It was, I guess, she was asking for change or hanging out on a corner, or like,
Yeah.
did you know her, or you just started talking to her?
Just started talking.
So you didn't know her, but you just started talking, and she said, "You should see Angel." She said to you, which was the lady who ran LoveCry. So Jesse was forming that intention, like, I want to heal. And as I said earlier, the student becomes ready, the teacher appears. So, through Heather, through this girl on the street, that you, and then when she said that, you were like, what was your response? Like, I have no idea who this angel is. I don't know who Heather is, but I want to heal. I'm going to give it a shot. Like, is that kind of what went on with you, or?
I don't know really exactly that. I don't think I was thinking, hey, I'm going to heal. It was just like, okay, I guess, like, it's just trying something new. Just, like, my mom raised me to think down upon, like, homeless. So
it was even kind of cool that you started talking to this girl, because you've been raised that homeless people are not real people.
Yeah.
Right? They're beneath you. You don't need to talk to somebody like that, but you did.
Yeah.
And she wasn't really a healer, I don't think,
No.
but something within her kind of came through, right?
It was just because, like, I care about people, and, like, I just talk to, like, hear her story, just to hear how she's doing, and, like, it's just nice to do that with people, especially people who aren't always going to be talked to, or who are going to be looked down upon, or just walk by, like, loser, or like, you don't deserve change. Why aren't you working? What are your problems? So to sit there and do that, you kind of break that, like, thought process, so that she or anyone can feel good about themselves because someone respects them regardless of where they are or where they live or what they're doing.
You're showing her in that moment that she mattered.
Yeah, and I didn't know that either, I was
and something within her made her talk about Angel and you seeing Angel.
Yeah.
And it took a little while though for you to see Angel, I think, after that, but it ended up happening.
And then when I'd go, healing wasn't like, it was scary, like I was what, 20 at the time?
It is scary. I've done a lot of work on myself, and I go to group therapy right now, and it's every time I go in, I'm like, I'm scared to go talk to my therapist. I'm scared to go to group. It's scary. But, that's about that intention, like intention of, like, out of love for myself and out of love for everyone that I touch in my community, I want to get ahead. I want to heal myself.
Because, like, even, like, trying to do yoga, like, that wasn't a thing for me. Like,
Yeah, you weren't a yoga type of
no,
guy.
that really made me feel like, I don't want to say, like, feminine in that sense, because
It
like,
wasn't manly.
yeah, I wasn't, it was just like like conceptions based on how I was raised as a
That's where
kid,
these pinkos, it's not
So
for
yeah,
me.
yeah, so like someone would come to the door or something, like I would just be standing on my mat, like, and I'd just stop doing yoga,
I felt embarrassed,
yeah,
ashamed.
yeah,
You hid your yoga practice.
It's like,
No, I don't do yoga. No, I was just
what is,
standing on a mat.
I'm just standing, my feet are nice and comfy. Yeah,
No,
so
that I find that surprising because
yeah.
like you talk very highly of yoga, so that was part of your healing was
Oh,
doing yoga.
yeah, it was, to me, it's the best thing ever. But when I first started, I didn't understand it. Because your ego doesn't like things that help it.
Well, the ego doesn't want change,
Yeah,
right? Don't rock the
exactly.
boat. Don't rock
Exactly.
the boat. So that's maybe part of what makes me scared to go see a therapist or go to
Always, yeah.
therapy because the ego's like, no, you might change. We don't want that.
You don't want people to think of you as bad.
Oh yeah, that too. I don't want to be exposed.
Exactly. I'm the only idiot that thinks like this.
And we did mention in another video journaling, and I mean, and I'll get your take on it in a second. But I was reading about when you write cursive, that it puts your brain into a theta waves. So there's something about writing in cursive that relaxes your brain waves, and it's another thing that you can do to relax your brainwaves is meditation or really focused yoga will relax your brainwaves and put you into touch with a deeper part of yourself. So that's just kind of a cool thing that I read about journaling, especially if you're going to do it with like the cursive writing. But you were saying that in journaling, if I remember correctly, that it could just be your ego just tripping out and saying how great I am, or like
Yeah, or how bad you are, or what this is, but it's not really.
Well, because saying that you suck can also be an ego trip.
Yeah.
Because you're identifying, like, poor me, all my life.
Yeah, and it's not looking at what it is that's creating it.
It's not peeling back the carpet and looking where's this coming from.
That's how I see it. Like it's great. Like I'm not saying don't write, these things are bad. I'm just saying that like different stages that we're in healing, sometimes we could use them as distractions, as ways to avoid things, as ways to be like, this is who I am, instead of like constantly like, because if you really break things down, you have to break down everything in order to find out who you are. And that's scary. That's scary
Like,
stuff.
who are we really? Like, maybe we're more blank than we think we really are, right? Because we have these personalities. Well, I'm this kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy. But it's like, is that true, right? Or is that just something that we pretend to ourselves because, it's a comfortable role? It's kind of like stuck in a rut. Like you've done it so much, you're in a rut now. And so, it's about relaxing the ego and saying, hey, you're always going to be there. I'm always going to be here, but I might not be who I think I am, and that's okay.
Yeah. It's because the ego will always likes to be identified. Always likes to be like, oh, I'm better. I'm stronger.
Like how the
I'm
system
this.
labels you, your ego also wants to label you. Like, I am this kind of guy.
Because
right?
because then you're you're in a box. And it feels safe because now you know everything about yourself. You don't have to. No, I know everything. Nope, don't over there.
Yeah.
I got my little box. That's all I need. Now shut up. Don't talk to me. And if you do, then I'm gonna hate you, and I'm gonna go over here and hang out with the people that all think like me.
Right. But what's on the other side of that is if you're not this box, then you're bigger than you think you are. You're more than you think you are.
Well, of course. And then when you contain yourself in a box, there's always something else living in there. There's always something else that you don't know about, that you don't plan to be in there, that you didn't build that house with it in there. It's just found its way in. And it's living there in all those rooms, every single one of them. And you have to address it. Otherwise, it's just, you're just going to stay hard and then hateful because these people make me, no, I'm like this, they're like that. And it's like, we're all live in a world of pain and hurt. So if we start judging people that way, you're just, in a way, putting your pain on everybody else instead of being responsible, enduring that pain, and finding a way to get it out in a positive way. Because that's the way of healing, is positively saying the bad shit that happened to you. And that's pretty much what help is, not changing it, not pretending it never happened, not talking about it because it's negative. It's being able to say it in a way that you're not tearing people down.
And so the bad stuff that's happened to me, but also the bad things that I've done and the bad that I've been. And so if we don't look at it, it can feel more comfortable. But it's putting like a magnetic field on you at all times until you look at it, and then you release that charge.
Yeah, and then so the releasing, so it's released at that point, but it's coming back. It's coming back because that's your frame of thinking that's been there for a long period of time. So yes, you notice it, you can let it go. When it comes back, it's a little bit easier to notice it, a little bit easier to let it go, and then it will come back. It keeps trying, and then you keep trying to make understanding. He'll get lighter and nicer and like, okay, and then finally, eventually, it'll come back, and then it stops. It's not coming back as frequently, and then maybe a year goes by, it tries again, but with the constant talking to it, explaining, not judging it.
Which is part of your self-awareness, your relationship with yourself.
Yeah, you'll heal that ego from feeling that insecure to have to do that to you because you're taking care of it. Because that's mainly why the ego's doing what it's doing, is because we're not taking care of it. That ego's like our baby. And we foster that baby and take care of it. It's not going to keep trying to take us down. You don't care about me. You're this, you're that. No, they're like this because you're not listening. So now it's got to find other people to blame. So you're like, yeah, that's right. Tell them, because now you're listening.
And that's so refreshing, like to heal your ego and love your ego rather than bash it and stick it up on a cross.
Yeah. It's bad. Never talk about it again. I wonder where that's going to go.
Yeah.
Especially if you believe in the collective hate and stuff like that too, because for me, when you suppress that, you're creating hate, which I believe creates murderers, rapists, like child molesters.
Because what we push out is going to go somewhere, and it's going to land on someone.
And then your ego also wants to feel better, so it has to make someone bad out there. So you have, say, 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people doing that, and one person goes out and kills someone. Those 1,000,000 people are almost happy because I'm not as bad as that person.
Yeah.
And so it just perpetuates, and you're actually part of creating it. So your help now is demolished.
Important work to do on yourself.
Yeah, I hope this was, helpful in any chance.
And it, like many things, there's not like a direct ABC way of doing it. I think you really gave us some good pitfalls to be aware of when you want to get work done on yourself, or things you can do.
Because the system's not designed. It's not designed to help you. It's designed to assimilate you, because when you know yourself, they can't sell you to buy something to feel better about yourself.
You're less controllable when you know yourself.
They can't say this car will make you feel like a better man. You're like,
right.
What's this guy? Don't say the R word. Sorry.
But it bounces off you because you're more self-aware, right? You're more healed. So to the extent you're more healed, you're less manipulatable, not only by marketing and by the system and various systems that we have in place, because we live in a system of systems, but also by people, because people will try to mind control you, to mind fuck you, to mind game you, and you'll be less susceptible, and you'll have that loving thing, like, oh, that person must really feel insecure that they have to resort to this sort of behavior to try to control me. But at the same time, you're not being controlled. Yeah. So it's a loving defense.
Yeah, no, it does wonders, but sometimes the ego can't take that pain and just says, like, get out of here. I don't like you. You're no good. But when you could actually hold it, it's like lifetime changes, not just like, oh, okay, you turned your head, now I don't see Anthony. Like, oh shit, he's back. like, damn it.
So you can't avoid pain, and in fact, and this is, I think, a massive point. When we're trying to avoid pain, it causes us more pain, and it also causes more pain in the collective.
And your family.
Everything. So trying to avoid pain is going to cause pain. So dive in there, feel some pain, own it.
Yes. It's not the end of the world. Sometimes it feels like, but it only feels that way because of how you think about it. You know, how you judge yourself about your reactions, how you think of it, how you love yourself, all these worries about what other people are going to think of you for it. There's so many different things that are at play when it comes to like trying to figure yourself out.
So be supportive to yourself and be loving to yourself and give yourself room, lots of room.
Yeah, and don't give up because someone tells you to.
Yeah.
Or because it seems hopeless. Because that's the design of the system.
I remember this couple I knew, and the girlfriend said to the guy that he was too fucked up for therapy, that he's too broken for therapy. And I knew this guy. I mean, I've met some broken people. I wouldn't put him in the top 10% or 40% of broken people. So, but it was, so like you said, don't give up. Even if someone says something to you, they're just saying what they're saying.
Yeah, because you're just at a position in your life that they're not understanding. And so that's where you're at. That's what you need to heal. They have no idea. They're telling you to fit into the status quo. They're not telling you, okay, this is where you were from in your life. These are your experiences. Okay, this is where we're going to work with you. It's no, this is where you're supposed. You're not even workable.
No, I just sighed because the last I heard, he avoided doing, work for himself because he took these words to heart.
Yeah, you'd feel like, to me, that is the worst thing a counselor could say to someone.
Oh, it wasn't a counselor; it was his girlfriend.
Oh,
his girlfriend said that to him.
Jesus.
Yeah, talk about a mind game. Yeah, poor guy. Anyway, I hope, but like I say, he wasn't all that broken. So,
but then that might have been done in like the middle of an argument or something like heated to where she said that. But I don't know if that's the case either. But
I hope he's okay. So
do
it because you are worth it. I mean, just by virtue of being born into this world, you're a human being. You're in this world. And it is worth it, and you are worth it to, find something within yourself to do it for. So your beginning was your love for your daughter. Find some reason to do this stuff for yourself, to heal, to grow.
Because like I've said probably many times, is that God, the Creator, wouldn't give you this if you weren't strong enough to handle it. It's just that we've been conditioned to think that this is how we're supposed to be, so I'm broken because I can't handle my trauma. Instead of it being that they don't understand trauma and they're impacting me and harming me and abusing our country.
No, there's a lot of bad shit happening, and a lot of it is systemic. So you have to be the one to advocate for you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Internally and externally.
Because they're never going to change if we just fight them back, because they'll just have reasons to do it back. It's just giving them another reason. So if we go in and take it, just like Gandhi, when they were beating all of them over there, and he told them not to fight back, not to do anything, take the beatings, take them. And they did, and they couldn't keep doing it because people were like, why are you hitting them?
Right.
Like they're doing nothing. And so that, I believe, is what needs to happen within the system, is stop fighting them. Just keep going in. This is how I feel. This is what's going on for me. This isn't helping me. Don't just go on a whim like, oh, let's try this pill. Or let's try this. Don't listen to that. That's how I feel, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before. I don't think depression is caused from a deficiency of a drug. I don't think that's the cause of depression.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It can be caused by a severe deficiency of vitamins or minerals. So, making sure you have a good diet, taking a good multi, not a bad idea. Some good research with taking a generous amount of vitamin D for your mood. And in the northern hemisphere, we tend to be low in vitamin D. All of Europe, Canada, much of the States.
How often do you hear this? How often do you hear this for dealing with depression or anxiety? Like these things, because he was around when I was, going through a lot of my troubles, and the nutrition and the vitamins really benefited my healing. And there's a lot of knowledge behind it. But then when I went out to doctors, counselors, and was mentioning these things, they were like, you're crazy. It doesn't fit into what we believe. But it was healing me. So I'm like, why are you guys against me? I'm telling you, this is helpful. I'm trying to tell you that these things are benefiting me.
So you noticed the difference.
Yeah.
But you were also on this path with a very devoted mentor and organization that I was a part of at that time, which I'm still a part of. Now you're running it.
So that's another thing. If you really want actual help, for me, it's the grassroots organizations, places that aren't funded very well, that aren't
They're not integrated into a system.
Yeah, they're just there for their community. And those are where you'll find the most help, even if they're not as educated as the white man or the counselor or the psychiatrist. If they have a heart, they've already had more education than them.
And that could be talking to someone on the street. It could be talking to your pastor, rabbi,
elder,
imam, elder. So, and elders have a lot of wisdom.
Someone who you look up to and believes in you.
A grandparent, an elder in your community.
Anyone.
So anyone.
Yeah, anyone
that has
who loves
that positive. Yeah, that has that positive regard for you.
Anyone who loves you is a healer for you.
Yeah.
No one else. Anyone who's like, they don't care about you, but they could, but I have this and this, I could break it down for you. That's not going to heal you because there's no love. It's just separation. So once that's broken, that emotion and physical, then you're not healing. So
it's not a mechanical thing. It's a heart thing.
Yeah, exactly. So don't give up on help. Don't ever stop, because that's the design of the system, because then it will just blame you. You'll be resentful. You'll be angry, and everyone around you will think that you deserved what you got. And I was one of them. I was so angry, so hurt, and then I was angry for being angry. Like, I did this to myself because I was so angry that no one wanted to hear me. My daughter got hurt, and then I really hated myself. I was angry. Like, that was my fault. And it's like, people started telling me, like, you had the right to be angry. And then parts of me felt a little better from that. Like, the right to be angry.
Like, they're saying it's okay that you were angry.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't have to be angry at yourself because you were angry.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, anyone under those circumstances would be angry. But you still have to work on that anger. but just that acknowledgement that you're not a loser. You're not an asshole. You're just human.
Yeah.
Like that. That's just something that is hard to get from people. So I don't know.
I think that was a good starter on what can we do, to get on our path, on our process. And it's a messy process.
Yeah.
But like Jesse says, keep going, don't give up.
It's messy, yeah, but you fight it, because
it's worth it.
It will change it. And the indigenous worldviews are growing. Things are growing out there for change that is actually helpful, that will benefit us, the world, everything around you. And the westernized approaches really need to shift, especially if they care about their citizens. So, yeah.
All right, guys, keep trucking.
Yeah.
Till
Talk
next
to you
time.
soon. Thanks.